Sometimes we may feel demoralized. We may feel we're fighting a losing battle. Our mind has already been infiltrated by bad thoughts, and they keep popping up. And we're fighting, putting out fires all the time. Let me share with you a story that took place after the Second World War. A Yid, Reb Motel Zitnitsky, a Torah Yid, a great Marbitz Torah before the war in Poland, a father of 6 children. And at the beginning of the war, his wife and his children were killed tragically outside of Treblinka in the death pits. And he was able to move from one labor camp to another, from one concentration camp to the other. And at the end of the war, a bedraggled survivor, Reb Motel, was recuperating in a DP camp in Sweden. It took a long time till he was able to stand on his own 2 feet. And finally, the day arrived where the Rav, Rabbi Jacobson, introduced him to a shidduch. He could start rebuilding life afresh and anew. There was hope, there was light at the end of this dark and bitter tunnel. And the day of the chuppah arrived. A makeshift chuppah was arranged in the chatzah. The Kala was waiting, the appointed time was there, it was 2 o'clock, but the chassan was nowhere to be found. And his friends were searching, where's Motel? They went to his room, they went to the makeshift base medrash, but he was nowhere to be found. And one of his friends found him in a little side room next to the dining room with his head down on the table. Motel! He tapped him on the shoulder. Motel! Sischen Zeit für die Chuppah! It's time for the chuppah. But Motel didn't look, didn't stir. Motel, the Rav vat! Motel, the Rav is waiting. He didn't stir. Motel, the Oilem vat! The chuppah steht! Everybody's waiting. The chuppah is standing. And Motel looked up. His face was streaming with tears. Was chuppah? Wen chuppah? Wer chuppah? Was it dann mit mein Gnendel, mein Chaim Yitzchak, mein Rivkele, mein Breindel? And he went through his wife and his children, and he put his head down. And then, with a thunderous thump on the table, he banged the table. He lifted himself up, and he said, "Aber me geit!" But we're going. And with that, he marched his head high to the chuppah. His friends said that in that thump, they felt the resounding cry of Klal Yisrael. We move on. We don't live in the past, we live in the future. And it's a message for each and every one of us. Our past may be littered with all kinds of negative thoughts, but we don't look at ourselves as the Admas Necha and the Shual that's coming out of a Kodesh HaKadoshim, the devastation of the past. We build on that. That's our power. That's our strength. Despite all of the past and the things that we're grappling with, we're moving forward, committed to living clean and pristine, connected to a life of Chayim B'Rtzonai.